But then along came this company, Osmo, and they developed this product called Polix Oil 3032 Satin Matte. It's a satin sheen coating. The company does produce what's called a 3062 matte. This is a dead coating, dead finish. It really looks completely dull and very classic actually. It works really well on Australian timber. Now, why do these coatings work? Well, let's just look at the pros and cons of using these versus a traditional waterborne urethane. What I've got in front of me here are two panels of oak. These are French oak, and I've got two panels here of New South Wales Blackbutt. What we're going to do is we're going to apply waterborne coating to each, and also Polix Oil 3032 to each of these two panels, and we'll look at the colour development and the pros and cons. So what I have here in this container is some waterborne urethane, quite a good one. So here I'm applying waterborne urethane for this stage for our demonstration. This is onto French oak, and what I'm doing here is just applying quite a thick coat of the waterborne urethane. There we are. And what I'd have to do then is leave that for several hours. I'd have to let it dry. Hopefully it would dry without too many pimples. Then I need to sand it back, put another coat on, leave that for several hours, sand that back, put another coat on. Finally I've got 3 coats of product, a primer coat and 2 wear coats on the floor, and that would then be my wear floor, my wear coating that would wear instead of my floor. Now that's oak. And you probably see that's developed some nice colour there. That's really sort of changed the colour. If we look at the raw oak versus that, you can see a huge development in timber colour. That looks really nice. I'll do the same thing with the Blackbutt. This is a nice sample of New South Wales Blackbutt, the coastal Blackbutt. We'll just apply a nice coat of the So again we've got some nice colour development in the Blackbutt there, and again the same thing, you would leave that to dry, cut that back, put another coat on, cut that back, put another coat on, 3 coats, and you'd have your wear coating. You'd expect something like this in standard use in a standard family home to last for around about 10 years, though it's impossible to be truly accurate on how long coatings will actually last in most situations. So we're going to apply the 3032 satin matte finish onto each of these 2 panels, to the French oak and to our New South Wales Blackbutt panel, and we'll see what we've got. Now for these small samples, what I'm going to do is apply the coating just like you would do if you were repairing the floor. Normally if you were repairing the floor, you would simply rub some of the oil into the surface, and that will give you a nice oiled surface. So the first thing you notice about the oil is that it is not really as runny as the waterborne coating or solvent-based coating. The other thing you'll notice is quite remarkable colour development almost immediately when the oil is applied. The reason for that is that some of the oil penetrates into the wood, some of the oil sits on top, and so you get a really fantastic colour development of the timber, but you also get an incredibly hard wearing coating. What Osmo managed to do was to work out how to produce a coating that would partly penetrate the timber and partly would sit on top. So you get a penetrating coating, and you also get a coating that sits on top to some degree. Can you see the colour development there? That's amazing colour development of the Osmo oil. Now that needs to be allowed to sit to dry, and then another coat is applied without any sanding. And when you've put your 2 coats on, that's it. So the floor may never need to be sanded again. In fact, in future, you simply need to clean the surface and apply a new coat of product. There's no need to actually go through the process of sanding your surface again, unless you've really done some significant damage to the floor. This is our Blackbutt sample. Again, we're just going to rub some oil into the surface. There it is. Done. So we're not putting on a huge film, we're not worried about nibs or dags or anything like that. All we're actually doing is applying a nice thin coat of oil. So that's the secret to applying the oils here in Australia. The oils have to be applied really thin, and if they're applied really thin, you end up with an excellent coating that works really well on timber. Now if I just do a little comparison for you, here is the waterborne New South Wales Blackbutt. That's just sort of drying out now, and I'll just grab this sample of the oiled Blackbutt. So this one on my left, your right is the oiled Blackbutt, and that's not far off dry. I'll soon be able to apply a second coat. This is the waterborne coating. Won't be able to touch this now till tomorrow, because if I try and do anything else with that today, it'll create problems. Again, in comparison, this is the oiled French oak, and this is the waterborne French oak. So again, on my left, this one, your right, that's the oiled oak as opposed to the waterborne oak. So much greater colour development with the oiled product. You really get the depth and colour of the grain, but far less work. Instead of having to apply 2 coats of a finish over the top of a primer coat, you don't have to do anything at all. Now for the sake of this demonstration, what we're going to do now is simply apply a little bit of the 3032 oil onto some jarrah and carry, just so that you can see the colour development with these products as well. So here is the jarrah, and put a little bit of oil on there. This is such a rich colour, really is beautiful to look at. So there it is, just take a look at that. That is the oiled jarrah, that is the jarrah in the raw, and you can see the beautiful colour development. Now that won't go really dark. Traditional oils always send timber really dark, but the Osmo product, because it's an oil and wax combination, because of the way it penetrates and sits on the surface, it's doing both jobs. It is going to provide a lot of wear without sending the floor extremely dark. And the other side of this is that this product will last 8 to 10 years in the domestic setting, which is on par with the very best waterborne coatings available. So that's a terrific level of wear for very little actual difficulty. And because this coating doesn't require sanding for maintenance, down the track that's something you can do. You can maintain perhaps just one little area of the floor that's looking worn, like for example an area under a table where you've got dining chairs that's starting to wear the surface. With traditional coatings you have to cut back the entire floor, take all your furniture out, and you have to resurface the entire area. But with Osmo there's no need to go to that expense at all. Just do the same thing now with this carry sample. Again, the idea is to put the coating on nice and thin. Look at that beautiful colour. So there we have it. There's the carry in the raw, sanded to 100 grit, which is the standard finish for Osmo oils. And there's the carry that's been oiled. In a couple of hours I'll be able to put another coat of oil on that. That will be finished, and then tomorrow of course I could live on the floor. Now when you're doing a floor in someone's house, it does take a little bit more than that. You do actually have to put the coating on perhaps just a fraction thicker, and it's best to put 1 coat on per day. But other than that, there's no more sanding. Once you finish the sanding process, it is done. So you can see why we say that Osmo 3032 really is an outstanding product. This product is revolutionising the way that floors are finished around the world. Here in Perth, a number of commercial sites have been finished now using 3032. And the reason this product was chosen for that application is that it was a commercial site with wear areas in the entry and in front of the counter, and they wanted to be able to maintain it themselves without needing the expense of getting somebody in, without needing to shut the whole business down, having to put everything out and do all the maintenance and then start again. Maintenance can be a real issue if not handled correctly. Osmo 3032 is one of the easiest products to maintain and one of the only products that can be repaired by area. That being the case, it is obviously the product of choice for use in timber flooring.